On today's show, there's still hope for the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals, but it all rests on Kyrie Irving's shoulders. We'll tell you why in today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, leave a 5-star review on any podcast platform, like the video on YouTube, and comment anything below there. Let me know, what one thing do the Mavs have to do in Game 3 to get the win? Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Made it home. Took a while. I'm coming to you live from 3 a.m. late Monday night going into Tuesday. So this is why the episode is late, because the flight was late, and so Nick was late, and so the episode is late. So shout out to everybody in the Raccoon Squad waiting for the episode. Man, want to talk about some things from Game 2. There were some more encouraging things. There were some things about, a loss that you go, man, what did they do wrong? We talked about those, I think, yesterday. I want to talk about why the Mavs half-court offense improved a little bit. We'll talk about PJ Washington. I want to talk about where the Mavericks failed the most. There's a couple swings of the game and what happened there, and can the Mavs avoid those? I think they can in Game 3. Luka talked about his turnovers. So I went through every single turnover, and we're going to figure out which ones were his fault and which ones are not. But we got to start here. The conversation about Game 1 and Game 2 about the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks are going to steal one of those games. The Mavericks are not favored in this series. The Mavericks should not win this series. They should not. Celtics are a much better team. They're better constructed. It's all there. They're better 3 through 8 in their rotation, their roster. The Mavericks are ahead of schedule. They did not make the postseason last year. Mavs are ahead of schedule. But if the Mavs are going to get one of those games, there's still a path for them to win. There's still a path for them to win games in this series. Absolutely. It all rests on Kyrie Irving's shoulders. Because a team being down 0-2 and winning the series is not unprecedented. We've seen it happen recently. 2021, the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA Finals. Giannis got his first title. Big deal, all that, everything. They were down 0-2 to the Suns to start. Phoenix won the first 2 games at home. They won by 13 and they won by 10. 2 double-digit wins. And Milwaukee won the next 4. That is a very recent example of this happening, where a team at home, can you compare the Suns to the Boston Celtics? I think the Celtics have some more experience. I think they have some more mature players. Their defense is better. They don't have sort of like these how do I put this? I guess they won't care. The mental weaknesses of, like, DeAndre Ayton. Where does he show up in this series? Of the young guys, of guys that don't come up big in big moments, of Chris Paul, who's had the demons of playoff failures in the past that came up, all kinds of stuff. But 2021, it happened recently. The other example is in 2016, and I'll talk about that one in a minute, because that one is key. Another recent example is one that we don't like to talk about around here. 2006, the Dallas Mavericks were up 2-0. They won both 2 games at home. They won by 10 and 14, double-digit wins against the Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat ended up shooting 155 free throws. No. The Miami Heat won the next 4 games after that. So it has happened. It has definitely happened. The last 2 out of the last 3 times it's happened, the team that won the first 2 games lost the last 4. It also happened in 77, the Portland Trailblazers. They got the win after being down 0-2 as well. But the question with Kyrie is this the Kyrie we're going to get? Because so far in this series, Kyrie Irving has been not good. He has not been his normal self even. In this series so far, 2 games in, Kyrie Irving has made 2 shots. He's made more than that. I know it seems like 2 shots. Shout out to Apple for giving me the balloons emoji when I put the 2 up. They gave me the full balloons. He's made 2 shots. Celebration. Give him the balloons because he's made 2 shots. Kyrie Irving has made 2 shots outside of 13 feet from the rim. NBA.com signifies outside of 13 feet as a mid-range shot. Kyrie has made 2 mid-range shots. Everything else is inside. He's made 0 threes, 0 for 8 on threes, and he's absolutely struggled inside anywhere close to the rim. He's shooting 2 of 14 on shots that are 14 feet or outside on mid-range shots. Mid-range shots and threes, he's shooting 2 of 14 in this series. In the playoffs, from 16 to 24 feet, he's shot 71% so far. So he's 2 of 14, but in the rest of the playoffs, he was 10 and 14. He's also shooting 42% from 3 in the playoffs. And he's 0 for 8 right now. To me, I think you start going through Kyrie's numbers. You start going through Kyrie's shots that he took in game 2. And honestly, I think he took two or 3 bad shots. You start going through his shots, you go, man, he usually makes that. Man, some of them, okay, first quarter, Derrick White, one-on-one, he drives against him, gets blocked. But he made one just on that very same play, the very possession before that. You get a couple others, takes a real tough shot on Pritchard, tough shot on, after a screen, takes a floater, it's contested, all that. That's kind of tough. A 3-pointer against KP where he switched and all that. Okay. But a lot of Kyrie's shots are open. A lot of them are shots that he normally hits, and he has been a much better shooter in these playoffs. Even against the Thunder, where he struggled to get his own shot, he at least got the shots up, and he didn't shoot a terrible percentage. He's shot worse in these 2 games than he did in any game against the Thunder, I believe. Maybe 1 game. And so Kyrie Irving, to me, if there's hope for the Mavericks, it's that Kyrie Irving will make these shots that he normally makes. That's simple. The things that are working for you right now, you keep them up. And if Kyrie Irving can hit any of these shots that he normally makes, that's it. I don't think there's a crazy scheme. I don't think there's a crazy big change. I don't think there's anything. He's just got to be better. He's got to hit more shots. They're doing all kinds of stuff with him. They're screening for him. They're trying to get switches on him. He had a bunch of attempts against Derek White. He had attempts against Tatum. He had attempts against Sam Hauser and KP and everybody. Jrue Holiday. He only had 1 attempt against Jrue Holiday. So if that tells you anything, they are getting Jrue Holiday off of him. And so now you look at Kyrie Irving, you go, all right, well, how can we trust that Kyrie Irving can be better in this moment? Why can't we just say that he's shrinking in the moment? He's not ready for it, blah, 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 all the Celtics and the history and the crowd and all that. After game 2, Kyrie said, being in the finals before, down 0-2, I have a little experience in this. Didn't play particularly well in the first 2 games in that series that I'm referring to. So now I'm just really leaning in on what I've experienced, what I've learned, and some of the lessons that I've been able to make a sense of it and how to come back in the series, because it's going to be a possession-by-possession thing, and it's going to be the hardest thing we've ever done. Kyrie Irving in 2016 was part of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They played the 73-win Warriors. The 73-win Warriors, one of the greatest teams we've ever seen. And the Cavs are down 0-2 on the road. On Twitter, at Nick Van Exit, I posted some of the article titles that were out there when the Cavs were down 0-2 to the 73-win Warriors. Let me remind you, some people were like, oh, this Celtics team's better than that Warriors team. Are you sure? Did they win 73 games? They won 9 more games than the Celtics team did. Some of the article titles were, there is no Cavaliers solution for the Warriors. No solution. That's it. It's over. Hopeless. Another one, Warriors defense leaving Cavaliers bewildered. Cavs couldn't score buckets. They lost the game 1 by 15. They lost the second game by 33. They were getting destroyed. Here's another caption title. Golden State Warriors humiliate Cleveland Cavaliers in NBA Finals Game 2. Stefan Bondi, who's a great reporter, for the New York Daily News and others, he wrote this about the first 2 games of that 2016 Finals. The Cavs are putting up the resistance of a wet paper bag. This has been less of a series than a coronation for the Warriors through 2 lopsided games. They were lopsided games. It looked like there was no hope for that Cavs team. Kyrie Irving had 26 points in game 1, but he shot 7 of 22. He got to the free throw line 12 times and made 11 of them. So he didn't shoot the ball well, 7 of 22. And in game 2, he had 10 points. He shot 5 of 14 from the field. It looked hopeless for that team. And what did Kyrie Irving do? Games 3 through 7, he averaged 31 points a game, shot 51% from the field, and 47% from 3. Those 2 shooting percentages is kind of what he's averaged this whole playoffs. It's a long time ago. I understand that. It's, 8 years ago? But we've seen, literally, Kyrie Irving do this before. Next to another generational superstar that's an incredible passer and scorer and all that. It's a different context, different team, all that, but they're playing a different team too. And so if you're going to have some hope in the Dallas Mavericks, it all rests on Kyrie Irving's shoulders because he's done this before. The shots that he's getting right now, I think that you expect him to make some of those eventually because he's too good of a player for the shots that he's getting to not go down. And so whatever hope you have in the Dallas Mavericks, it rests in Kyrie Irving on Kyrie Irving's shoulders for him to step up, to make the shots we expect him to make, and to do the same thing he did in 2016, basically. Mavs down 0-2, lost both games on the road, seems hopeless, doesn't seem like the Mavericks have any answers. Oh, the Mavs lost the game that the Celtics didn't shoot well from 3. Sure, all those things are true. It seems like that way right now. Seemed the same way for the 2016 Cavs. For you to win a title, a lot of things have to go right for you. The hope rests on Kyrie Irving's shoulders. There you go. Coming up, let's talk about the turnovers for Luka. Let's talk about how much of them are his problem because he took blame for them. Should he have? I think he was right. I'll tell you why coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, and summertime means baseball and the NBA Finals. Who would have thought the Mavs would be here, by the way? Here we are. Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. You can do all kinds of stuff on FanDuel. Put down some money. Put down $5 on any winning bet. You can get $100 or you can get $200 in bonus bets. The Mavs are 1.5 point favorites in Game 3. It's pretty good. Teams that are favored in Game 3 after losing the first 2 usually win the game. I think it's like 80% or something like that. Mavs down in the series. If you still believe, you should be here. Plus 640. So you got some good odds now if you want to put down some Skrilla on the Mavs for winning the series. So go check that out. FanDuel.com/lockedon. $200 that you can use to bet on anything from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park in a baseball game. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Add a big win to your summer bucket list. Visit FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook.
My first shot, my first make.
Oh, it feels good to have the soundboard back. Feels good to be back at home. Feels good to be back in the great state of Texas. Texas forever. Tim Riggins didn't do it. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with me on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show and listening. Yes, I've been traveling for, seems like forever. Now we're back in Dallas, Game 3. And if you're in Dallas on Tuesday, June 11th, we are having a live show. Mavs, we're calling it a Mavs rally. Slightly Biased and I are rallying the troops, or rallying all of you guys to come hang out at Four Corners Brewery in Dallas. We put out, you can go check out the information on the YouTube channel or on my Twitter or on Slightly's Twitter or on the Locked On Mavs Twitter. We've got all that stuff. We'll be posting it all over the place. 7 p.m. at Four Corners Brewery today, Tuesday, June 11th. So come hang out with us. And we'll do a show. We'll probably do some Q&A. We'll hang out, buy drinks, be some fun stuff. Good guys at Four Corners Brewery. All right, Isaac, let's get into the rest of what I got today. How many turnovers were on Luka? Because after the game, the Mavericks, both Kyrie said we beat ourselves on our turnovers. Not they beat themselves up, but they lost the game because of their turnovers. They had 15 turnovers. The Celtics scored 21 points off of turnovers. Luka said, I think my turnovers and missed free throws lost the game. So I got to do way better in those 2 categories. So Luka had 8 turnovers. It's a lot. Luka now has 12 assists and 12 turnovers for the series. It's a bad ratio. 8 turnovers in this game, 1 assist in the first game really messed him up in that right. But How many of those assists or those turnovers were his fault? Because I saw a lot of people saying after the game, well, I think his teammates hung him out to dry on some of those. So I went through and I watched all the turnovers again. First one, he drives in and goes for a foul, doesn't get the foul, and it's a turnover and a live ball on the other end. It ends up being the challenge play between PJ and Derek White in the first quarter. That one was Luka's fault. Then he tries to throw the transition pass to Lively. It was a great defensive play by Hauser. It ended up being a dead ball, but he tried something. He took a risk. Another first quarter one, he drove, he got stuck, he slipped on the floor, he traveled. It was a dead ball. And so the dead ball ones are not as bad as the live turnover ones. Those kill you. For example, in the third quarter, his next turnover, Jaylen Brown poked the ball away from him from behind. PJ Washington was behind him, and either he couldn't alert him because the crowd was too loud, or he just failed to alert him that Jaylen Brown is behind him, like didn't stick up for his teammate, and then Jrue Holiday got a very easy bucket on the other end. Live ball turnover, terrible. Those are the worst ones. Then he had another one where he threw the ball behind his back, took a risk, and passed it to Maxey. He's done that pass 100 times in the regular season. Maxey had to foul in transition. That one didn't work out for him. Then in the third quarter, Luka drove and had a crazy wild pass that turned into an easy layup on the other end for the Celtics. That one it was his fault, I believe. Fourth quarter, Peyton Pritchard comes over and double teams him, and it was, nobody told him, nobody basically alerted him or could alert him because of the crowd or whatever. And the Celtics got an easy dunk on the other end. Then you had the play where PJ Washington passes the ball back to Luka, and then Luka tries to throw it back to him at half court. Weird thing in the fourth quarter. Holiday gets a 3, and that put Boston up 11 with like a couple minutes left, which is just a dagger at that point. And so you start to go through, and you're like, all right, well, like all of them except for maybe two. PJ could have alerted him on 2 of those. The Peyton Pritchard double in the fourth quarter, and the third quarter one where Jaylen Brown poked the ball from behind. Like there's 2 out of 8. And so I think Luka's right. I think Luka's got to be better controlling the ball. There's a lot on him. There's a lot being asked of him right now. He's being asked to score. He's being asked to facilitate. He got some of those things down. But if he's going to do that, the Mavs have to defend with their offense. I know the Mavericks have been better defensively, but one of the things Jason Kidd used to say when the Mavs were not good defensively is, hey, we got to defend with our offense. We've got to score, and we've got to get, basically stops with our offense. So our defense can stop and set up on the other end and all that. Not turn the ball over, not give up easy stuff, not give the Celtics 21 points off turnovers because throwing wild passes and all kinds of weird stuff like that, taking unnecessary risks and all kinds of stuff like that. So yes, I do think Luka has to be better on his turnovers. I think he's right on that, and I think that's something that they have to clean up for sure, because you just can't have 15 turnovers in a finals game, allow the other team to score 21 points off those turnovers, and you only score 12 off of the 11 turnovers that the Celtics had. It's not a good ratio. Very bad ratio for you. They scored 9 more points than the Mavs did off of turnovers, and they won the game by 7. There's a lot of different things like that. You can talk about the 3-point shooting, sure, all that. Mavs didn't shoot the ball well from 3 either. Turnovers, think that was something that stood out to me. The next thing to me is, where do the Mavs fail the most? There's basically 2 swings in this game. I talked about the swings in game 1 the other day. Where are the times in the game where it swings from, all right, Mavs are up, and then all of a sudden, a couple minutes later, Celtics are up, or it's a small lead for the Celtics, and then it becomes a bigger lead for the Celtics. What happens in those runs? Because those are the real crucial moments of a finals game. Let's do the first one here. And Luka, after the game, said every game we lose is a missed opportunity for us. These are the opportunities that they lost out on right here. Boston took their first lead with 6:05 left in the second quarter. From the 10-minute mark in the second quarter to the 6-minute mark in the second quarter was the first swing. Dallas was up by 6, and by the end, Boston had taken its first lead. They went up by 3. On offense, this is where the Mavs struggled the most. They did not score this whole stretch from 10 minutes left in the second quarter to 6 minutes, a 4-minute stretch, another scoring drought. The Mavs just couldn't get anything going. What happened in that? Kyrie had a tough shot against Peyton Pritchard, missed that one. Luka missed a tough 3 where he was kind of moving, but he had hit so many great shots that you kind of expected it to go in at that point. Lively had an offensive foul against KP when he was trying to move him out of the way. KP flopped really hard, but he got the call. PJ Washington missed an open three. Lively missed a hook shot under the rim. That was a weird transition play that I saw a lot of people say, Lively should have just dunked that. Like, you don't realize how far away he is from the rim sometimes because your perspective is different on TV. Luka missed a free throw of a 3-second call in the lane from the Celtics, and Josh Green missed an open three. Missed opportunities just over and over again. The Mavs not being able to take advantage, and the Mavs others not hitting shots. PJ missed a shot. Lively missed a shot, and Josh Green missed a shot. Just didn't take advantage. And on the other end, to me, I thought that the reason why the Celtics were scoring in this stretch in the second quarter when this swing happened, two of them were because of cross matches. Cross matches are when, everybody on one side of the ball, the Mavs are defending. They've got all their guys set up. Okay, we're going to have Derrick Jones Jr. guard Jaylen Brown. We're going to have PJ Washington guard Jayson Tatum and all that. Then on the other end, the Celtics are going to say, well, we're going to have Jaylen Brown guard Luka, and we're going to have Jrue Holiday guard Kyrie. And so then all of a sudden you're switching up everything, and in transition between Mavs playing defense, Mavs playing offense, everybody switches around. And so that's called cross-matching. The Mavs did a bad job. Mavs did a bad job cross-matching and finding their guy on the other end because Tatum got a drive past Kyrie. Luka was the low man. It was a bad cross-match setup, and they got a layup out of it. Another one, there was a cross-match, and KP had Kyrie on him. Kyrie went for a really risky bad steal that he shouldn't really have gone for. He should have just tried to defend KP straight up and just gone for it there. Another one, Derek White got a 3-point shot off of a Tatum post up. Luka and PJ both kind of helped on it and weren't really ready. As another accidental double team. And another one, Derek Jones Jr. just bit on a pump fake against Jaylen Brown. So that was just a one-on-one mistake. And so you see some of these mistakes. All right, couple of cross-match mistakes on the Mavs defensive side. Mavs blowing a lot of opportunities on offense. That was the first swing of the game. The Mavs offense has got to get some things going. They did find some stuff. I'm going to tell you some of the stuff that they did find on offense coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Betterhelp. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has something in your life that you could talk to a therapist about. Something has happened. Doesn't have to be an insane trauma that they would write an episode of Euphoria about. Like, it doesn't have to be that, but it is something that's big to you. Whatever is big to you is big to you, because just because you think that this is not a big deal, like I'm so worried about this, but it's just my anxiety. Talk to somebody. Don't just bottle that stuff up. It's not worth it. It's not worth you just going over it over and over. Wouldn't you rather be able to think clearly? Wouldn't you rather get that guilt off of your chest? Wouldn't you rather be able to get those questions answered that you're just running through your head over and over and over again? If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. I've used BetterHelp before. Fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist. Switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show. Join us for the live show, the Mavs Rally, we're calling it, at Four Corners Brewery in Dallas. I said it was downtown Dallas to somebody today, and they got mad at me because they're like, that's not downtown Dallas. Okay, it's in Dallas. It's in Dallas proper. 7 p.m., Four Corners Brewery. Bunch of people are going to be there. We've got friends coming. I have been told Kevin Gray is going to come and do a show, and Mark Followell is going to come do a show, so he'll be there. Those guys will be there. For those that don't live in the country or live in the state or the country of Texas or the state of Texas, but don't live here, we'll record everything that I possibly can, and I'll post everything because I'm putting this on, so I can give you I'll give you the Kevin Gray Followell show. I'll give you the Slightly Biased show. I'll give you the question and answer. Whatever we record, I'll put it up on this feed wherever you're listening or watching this, and we'll absolutely do that. I've got my guy that does the Mavs Media Day interviews, Joaquin. He'll be doing some video, and so we'll have all kinds of stuff. So you guys will definitely be able to watch all the stuff that we produce at the live show. But join the Mavs Rally. Just join a bunch of us. I texted probably every single media person that I know that covers the Mavs and invited them all to come. So we'll see who shows up. But I'm excited to hang out with some Mavs fans and get the rally, because it's not done. It's not over, because the Mavs, even though some things went wrong for them in Game 1 and Game 2 of the NBA Finals, there's some hope. It rests in Kyrie Irving's shoulders, but there's some more offensive things I think that they've figured out. Before we get to that, though, the second swing of the game that I do want to talk about, because I think there's one takeaway from it. The second swing, third quarter, starting at just about the 6 minute mark, Boston was up 2. Not a big lead. Halfway through the third quarter, you're only up 2. Okay, feel all right about that. With 3 minutes left, they were up 12. So in 3 minutes, a 10-point swing, just a huge swing for the Mavericks. What happened? Tatum got a brown. Oh, God. Tatum, did I tell you it's 3 a.m.? Tatum drove on PJ Washington, got an and one. Really great drive by Tatum. Jaylen Brown got a pump fake on Derrick Jones Jr. and got him. Just 2 stars doing their thing, scoring on those guys. It is rare that happens in this series, which is kind of wild, but 2 stars just getting it going. Holiday got a layup off of a Luka turnover. We talked about that one earlier. Jaylen Brown got free throws off of a Josh Green foul. Jrue Holiday got a layup. Tatum got doubled accidentally. It was another defensive mistake like we talked about before. Lively was kind of guarding nobody. And then Hardy and Kyrie were guarding 3 people on one end and just completely left Jrue Holiday alone. So the Mavs defense was a little all over the place, but kind of just the stars taking advantage of their spot. The offense is where I think we have the takeaway. During this stretch, this 10-point swing stretch that kind of put the game away because the Mavs offense just could not keep up. Luka had a turnover. Derrick Jones Jr. airballed a 3. Luka got a double. PJ Washington missed a 3. Luka had an awful turnover where he just drove and threw the ball up, and nobody was going to get that except for Celtics players. Josh Green missed an open 3. Kyrie missed a 3. 4 missed 3s. 2 Luka awful turnovers. That's a swing. That's a whole swing right there. This Celtics team will take advantage of any daylight you give them. And you cannot give them extra possessions like that. You cannot give them the bad turnovers. You cannot. You got to be aware and alert when those 3 balls go up because it becomes long rebounds. And the Celtics, I feel like, have done a good job at getting some of those offensive rebounds. Yeah, they had 10. The Mavs had 9. That should be an advantage for the Mavericks. The Mavs should be the ones getting those offensive rebounds. But because there's so many 3s going up, a lot of them are long rebounds. The Celtics are getting their own misses. Those are the 2 swings. Here's some things the Mavs did that were good. I think their half-court offense was much better from game 1 to game 2. Probably their biggest area of improvement was this. A really great, like an excellent half-court offense is 100 points per 100 possessions. It's a little less than like your normal offense because you're taking away transition and the easy stuff and all that. In game 1, the Mavs' half-court offensive rating was 75.3, which is just terrible, brutal, awful. Game 2, it went up to 96.7. The Mavs found something in the half court on offense. It wasn't just that the Celtics were missing 3s. The Mavs offense did get better in that stretch. The 3s definitely mattered for the Celtics, but the Mavs offense was better in that. And I think part of it is because we got some good play from PJ Washington. He did some really great stuff. I'm going to go through some of these possessions that he had because there's definitely something they told him to do, and that's drive on Derrick White. He did it 4 times. He drove on Derrick White 4 times for shot attempts and just really took advantage of his height advantage over Derrick White. He hit a floater over him. He hit another shot. He got a floater against Jaylen Brown. He got a putback against Porzingis. He got another transition drive on Jaylen Brown. He hit a 3-point shot off of Jrue Holiday, who was not paying attention because he was trying to pay attention to Kyrie. PJ Washington has found a little bit of something here where he can drive to the rim. That's another release valve that the Mavericks can have. So him attacking Derrick White, attacking Jaylen Brown, whoever's in front of him basically is a good thing for the Mavs because they're paying attention to Luka, they're paying attention to Kyrie, and they're not sending extra help to PJ Washington at all. So I think that's a really good development the Mavericks have had that I think puts them in a better position for him to take advantage of it, for him to go, either get fouled or go get a bucket. That floater has been great for him. I think that's something. So this is a positive thing that the Mavericks have found. Last thing I want to get to, the one more thing. Why isn't Dallas getting any corner 3s? They're really not getting any corner 3s at all. And it's definitely the game plan of the Celtics, much like the Thunder, to take away the 3-point shot. They're staying home. They're allowing just one-on-ones against the Luka and Kyrie. And they're just like, all right, you guys just got to beat us. They really are. They really are just doing that. They've taken barely any corner 3s this whole time. So is there an answer for the Mavericks just to get a couple more points? Just a couple more points here or there. The margins are just so thin. The Mavs defense has been pretty good. They've done enough for the Mavs to win games, but their offense is just not. So can Tim Hardaway Jr. help? Is that where we are right now? Can you put him in and just see, what if he gets hot and hits 3 threes? That would be such a big swing for this Mavs team, considering the guys that are not hitting threes right now. Are we at that point right now? I don't think that chair squeak could have been any better timed in that. Is it time for Tim Hardaway Jr.? I've said coming into this finals run, who's the guy, who's the role player that becomes a legend? If the Mavs win this series, you get a Brian Cardinal, you get a Peja Stojakovic, you get a JJ Barea guarding LeBron James. You're going to get something wild and weird from a role player. If you win this series, you have to get something from a guy like that. Who becomes a legend? Is it Tim Hardaway that comes off the bench and all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, Tim Hardaway Jr. looked awful forever, and then he had a really good game against the Thunder, and that was huge. And then remember Tim Hardaway came off the bench and hit 4 threes against the Celtics in that one game. Made no sense, but we just went with it. And maybe it's Tim Hardaway. Could Jaden Hardy be that guy? They've really not really used him that much. They played him 2 minutes in game 2. They played Exum 10 minutes. They really tried to go for Exum. He hit 1 3. Is it Jaden Hardy? It's somebody. I think it's somebody on offense. And man, if Tim Hardaway Jr. was, they need somebody like him right now, really desperately. Just somebody else that can confidently hit a 3. The Tim Hardaway Jr. of 2021, when he was the second leading scorer on the Mavericks against the Clippers in a 7-game series, and he was the one that was outplaying Porzingis, and you're like, oh my gosh, Tim Hardaway Jr. is the second best player on this team. They need that guy. I don't know if they're getting that guy back. I know he struggles so much on defense that it's hard to convince yourself that he's that guy, but I'm on Tim Hardaway Jr. watch. He didn't get any time in game 2. I'm on the watch because they need one extra thing on offense. Just a couple more shots. I'm on the watch. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm on the watch. There you go. Guys, thanks for sticking with me. It's really late. I'm back home. I'm excited to sleep in my own bed. I'm excited to hang out with you guys tomorrow at Four Corners Brewery. Come hang out, say hi, and we'll talk then. Guys, thanks for listening to Locked on Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.